Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Josh, here to bring you another video. Before I do a live stream, which will be kind of late, I'm once again returning to Black Ops 4. Check it out. I'm going to do some voice trolling. Before I just want to talk about the subject that I just read on Internet Movie Database, and it could be farther from the truth. They call it the most annoying cliches in horror movies. There's a reason why we have cliches in horror movies. Like, you have the final girl. Everyone but the main character can survive a horror movie. So anyone who's non-existentially, and even though there have been times, and it's kind of rare, but then it's still in there, a second protagonist who pretty much survives all the way, almost all the way through the horror movie, only to die. Either they self-sacrifice themselves to save another character, or get caught by the killer. But even though when you have a killer that walks slowly towards you and you're running, and you're not paying much attention, you run into things or hit something. It's just like going out in the woods, and if you're running because you're being chased by something, chances are you're not paying attention to your terrain. And these are more rules to surviving a horror movie than anything. Like, never say you'll be right back, because you won't be back. You'll be dead. Having sex or nudity or drinking or doing drugs, you're of course going to die. Adults aren't helpful, and that's the reason. Here's the reason why adults are very less helpful in a horror film. Much like Friday the 13th, these teenagers, these camp counselors were isolated from getting help. You know, the killer cuts the phone line, so the phone doesn't answer. So they couldn't call for help. Or the fact that she couldn't find the bullets to the gun, so she had a weapon that pretty much didn't have any ammo in it. Even if she did have bullets in it and she shot and killed the killer, that would pretty much end the movie, and it would be probably less climatic. And the fact is, the reason why the main heroine or hero of the film does not finish off the killer, or even tries to finish off the killer, somebody's there to stop them from doing that. Because, again, we have all these cliches for a reason. Of course, like for instance, Amityville Horror, when the kid actually talks about having the parents think it's an imaginary friend, and then, of course, before they know it's too late, they realize it's a demonic presence, and it's already too late to do anything about it. But also, I would have to say, parents never would believe their kid if they said they saw a monster in the closet, kind of like with Monster Squad, which, once again, is one of my top favorite films. Just like many of the horror films, they're my top favorite, even though Monster Squad is mostly played for laughs, because it's also a horror comedy. Just like Fright Night was, and so many others. They weren't like spoofs of these movies. They were just more like, you know, you had tongue-in-cheek in them. Just like Tremors. You know, imagine you're on a rock, and that's what the writer did, was he jotted this down. What if I was on a rock, and then all of a sudden I couldn't get off that rock because there was something trying to eat me. So I have to stay on this rock to be safe. But eventually you would die from the elements. But again, these are the rules of horror films. They're not annoying cliches. And of course, those fake jump scares, or the fact that the music builds up with tension and you think the killer's presence, and actually is present in the scene, but you don't see the killer. So you don't really know when the killer's going to strike, but if a cat or something jumps out, or even a friend jumps out at you and scares the crap out of you, you just basically react to that. And, you know, of course, today, horror movies have less suspense. There's no build-up to any scenes. And there's many characters that you actually care about or feel connected to. And I've always said this, I think the worst thing is when you have characters that are just there to be slaughtered by a killer or an animal or a creature or something, and there's nothing there that makes you really care, then there's a problem. Also, I'd like to point out, with Halloween 6, I think the Call of Thorn was probably the worst idea ever in a movie, but then again, I've heard there's other videos out there, and there's a lot of people who have talked about over the years, even cast members who said, oh, you know, especially with Halloween 5, they didn't have a completed script. It was rushed. It suffered horribly. It was the lowest in the franchise, much like Friday the 13th Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan, where it spent more time on a boat and less time in New York. And the idea, also killing Jason off with toxic waste and him turning back into a little kid, was kind of the dumbest thing. Next to Jason Goes to Hell, which was another problem. Jason body swapping. Oh, his body deteriorates, so over time he just swaps his body for a new body. No, absolutely not. And while I was talking about Friday the 13th and why they never actually adopted a novel that was written during the time that the series was popular, and then also with the Friday the 13th TV series, why couldn't there have been someone finding the hockey mask, putting it on, and then becoming Jason in a way? Of course, we already had that with Part 5, an imposter. He wasn't actually Jason, and, because Jason's supposed to be dead, so dead and buried. But, of course, Paramount Pictures at the time, Friday the 13th was the bastard child that they did not want. They did not want the film. I think they were trying, with Jason Takes Manhattan being the lowest and also Halloween 5 being the lowest, because, again, it was rushed. I would say that if they would have made that back in 1990 or 91, just waited 2 years and had a really great script, I think it would have worked. Because not even the producers of the film even were aware of this man in black, or why this man in black shows up, and the ending helps Michael Myers escape, even though he didn't actually escape. He was actually forced into a van with the producer's cut of Halloween, which, by the way, I don't like the ending to Halloween 6, but I think the perfect ending was the final cut in terms of, he just kills everybody in that surgery room or the operating room or whatever. All the doctors, all the cult members. And the fact is, the idea that Michael Myers is controlled by some sort of outside entity, outside force, a cult, it sounds kind of lame. But, Daniel Farrens, he was a huge fan of the franchise. He was just trying to connect this together. And then you had Joe Chappelle, which I've heard over the years from certain cast members, especially in the documentaries on this, Halloween 6, and also on 25 Years of Terror, the fan convention, where they asked the questions, and Joe Chappelle was not really thrilled about working on a Halloween project. He didn't really like Sam Loomis as a character. He thought he was pretty boring. So that's why in the final cut you see less of Loomis. All they had to do was change it. I don't understand why they went back and added more stuff to the kills. I think they were perfect just the way it was, because after all, you look at Halloween, except for that one scene when he kills, I can't remember her name or her boyfriend's name. When he pins him against the wall, you see a little bit of blood trickle down on his feet, and that's about it. It was pretty much a bloodless scene, and especially when Laurie Strode gets cut across the shoulder, and of course, making them brother and sister, I thought was problematic, but that was just my take on it. I still love the franchise, and a lot of times I've always heard over the years, if I went and supported the new movie, if I supported the remakes, I somehow betrayed the original. That's not true, because the originals are what led me to this. I stayed loyal to the franchise, even through the bad sequels that came out. And the idea that, they didn't really necessarily have to do these the way they did, but then again, you can't fix what is broken. I'm going to end this video. I hope you guys enjoy it. Hit that like button. If you're new to my channel, subscribe for more content. I will be back with a live stream. See you all later, live, hopefully. If you can't watch it, comment down below what your thoughts were on my voice trolling. I know I've been doing that quite often. I did it with Friday the 13th, and some people didn't like it, so they left, because I came back as Beavis. So, yeah, I'm going to come back as Beavis tonight. He's over here. Right there. Bunghole. Bunghole. I am the great Cornholio. I need TP for my bungholio. Bungholio. Alright, guys. I'm going to wrap this video up. I hope you guys enjoyed. A lot of times, like I said, there's so many things that they could have done and fixed it. But you know what? You can't fix what is broken. Even if we came up with good ideas on how to fix this series. I'm glad that when they did the soft reboot with Halloween 2018, they removed the elements that made the rest. Because basically, you have to go back to basics. Michael Myers is an evil force who can't be controlled, period. That's the way it should be. And also, because he broke out in 78 and killed, 3 teenagers? Yeah, 3 teenagers and 1 mechanic to get that epic costume that he wears. Alright, guys, I gotta go, but I will talk to y'all later. Have a good night. If I don't see you tomorrow or even Saturday, I hope you guys have a great weekend. I will talk to y'all later. Have a good one.